Recording. All right, so here we go. All right, so here we go. Let me go ahead and start this presentation so it's a little bigger on your screen. All right, Moon, Mars, and beyond. Who can tell me just a little short review of what the E mission is all about? And you'll
I
just have,
can.
okay, go ahead. You'll just have to speak up because when my full screen is on like this, I can't see your pictures anymore. So go ahead, just speak up.
So, it was like in the year 2080, and, um, some people in space are lost because they were exploring other planets, and we are in mission control on the Earth, and we have to help them find their way out, and, we have to also calculate their payload and bring them all the food they need, and yeah.
That's
Look
exactly
forward
right. So
to
we are in the year 2080, and actually, there's astronauts stationed on all of the different planets, and of course on Earth. So we're in communication with all of these different planets, and Mars is the one that I think most of us are on right now. We're all kind of like hanging out on Mars, and we're looking for these lost astronauts. That have been lost now for like 4 days. So today we're going to go ahead and start our very first lesson, and that's going to be learning about all of the different planet names. But before I start there, our enduring understanding, and I know this is kind of complex, adult like language for you guys, but just keep this in mind. What we're really trying to do is remember that everyone has the ability to make a difference to themselves, their community, and their place. So, what does that mean when we're thinking about the mission? How can we make a difference?
this one.
Yes,
I made my own little Moon, Mars, and Beyond from scratch. Is that okay?
sure, absolutely. Are you talking about the form that we had to fill out at the end of last week? Is that what you're referring to?
No. Mm-mm. I made my own.
Oh, okay. Well, as soon as I'm done showing this presentation and I'm able to see your screen, maybe you can show us.
Okay, it's my camera's still not working.
Oh, okay. And I'll give you a phone number that you can call. And I know somebody else has a webcam that's not working as well. Um,
Oh
and the
yeah.
IT department, I think, can fix those.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and just keep this in mind today. Everyone has the ability to make a difference to themselves, their community, and their place. So, what does that mean to you? I'm going to come back to this at the end of today, and we can talk about this a little bit more. So, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. All right, today we will learn the names of the planets in order from the sun. So, what that means is closest to the sun and then farther out. We'll name the planets in order according to size. And then, this is a big word that we're going to learn today. We're going to devise a mnemonic device to help memorize the planets' names in both size and order. And then we'll also be able to describe how a mnemonic device could help you remember a list of names or other places that can translate to all kinds of different classes, not just language arts. All right, so some new vocabulary for today mnemonic device, like I just mentioned.
I know one of the mnemonic devices.
Okay, go ahead, tell us.
Well, I'm pretty sure I know what it is. A mnemonic device is like a sentence that helps you memorize something. Is that right?
That's correct. It's
So like, oh, you go on.
no, go ahead, tell us what you're
No,
explaining.
I didn't have anything to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a mnemonic device helps us memorize things that sometimes are kind of hard to remember. Things like the order of the planets from the sun
Right.
or the size of the planets from the sun. Since there's so many of them, it's helpful to have a strategy that makes it quick and easy to remember. And that applies to a lot of different things. So, Okay. All right. Oh, shoot. I hate this when I go too fast. There we go. Mnemonic device number one. All right. So let's look at our very
I
first
know what
mnemonic.
that stands for. It stands so
Okay, go
the
ahead.
Y stands for Mercury and the V stands for uh, Venus. And then the educated stands for Earth, and then Mother stands for Mars, and Jess stands for Jupiter, and Earth stands for Saturn, and Us stands for Uranus, and Nine stands for Neptune, and Pizza stands for Pluto.
That's exactly right. So this very first mnemonic device, I just gave it to you. We're going to be making up some here in a minute, but this one I just straight up gave it to you. This is the order of the planets from the sun. So over here we have the closest to the sun, and then Venus is the second closest. Earth, of course, is the third planet. Then there's Mars. Then comes Jupiter. Little farther out is Saturn, then Uranus, Neptune, and then clear out there and way far away is Pluto. So I want everybody, if you have a pencil or paper, something beside you, I want you to write this sentence down. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. I'll give you a second to do that. I'm going to have to exit full screen for just a second in order to see my
Mrs.
chat.
Bruns,
Yep.
I actually have my own one, so me and my
Perfect.
mom made up our own.
Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was going to ask you to do next. So you just hang out and you're going to share it.
Well, I don't have it written down. It was a while ago though, but
Oh, okay. That's okay. Well, maybe you can remember it here in a minute.
yeah.
Okay. So once you have this written down, I want you to go ahead and just circle the first letter. Ah, hate it when I move too fast. Circle the first letter of each one of these words. So circle the M, the V, the E, the next M, the J, the S, the U, the N, and the P. Okay.
We're supposed to circle all the letters at the beginning of it.
Circle the first letter. So you're going to want to circle the M and the V
Okay.
and then the E. All right. So this mnemonic device, it's pretty good. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas, but maybe we could come up with a different one. Um, so let's go ahead and just brainstorm another sentence that we can use to remember the planets in order from the sun. My is a good one to start with. That's a good word to start with. Let's go ahead and
Okay.
type into the chat maybe some suggestions for our very first word that we can use. Molly's. So maybe if you have a Molly in your life, Molly's very educated mother. Mop, definitely. Mop, very earthy floors. My very earnest mother just sat upon 19 puppies. I like that one.
Mm.
So
The
is
other one, the other one was a little different though that we made up a long time ago, but I can't remember it. But that was the closest one I could remember.
that's hilarious. I like it though. My very earnest mother just sat upon 19 puppies. So you can kind of see how all of those letters are the exact same letters,
Mm.
as you see here on my screen. Um, so really, guys, that was just kind of a fun exercise. I want you to remember this one is probably the most common. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. But if you're the type of kid who wants to make up their own, that's definitely a possibility for you. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so we just talked about other options that we could have used. Okay. Now we're going to look at the size of the planets. So we just did the order from the sun. So now we're going to make a mnemonic device for the size of the planets. So you can obviously see Jupiter is the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me go ahead and make this a bigger screen. Okay, so Jupiter is your biggest planet. Saturn is your next biggest, then Uranus, then Neptune. Earth is fifth in line there. Venus, Mars, Mercury, and then Pluto is the smallest. So here we go. This will be kind of fun. I started one off for us. Joe stayed up nightly, and then we got to come up with a word for E for V.
Eat.
Okay, so Joe stayed up nightly eating.
Or Joe stayed up nightly. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Whatever.
It's okay.
Oh, each maybe nightly each.
Okay. Yeah, don't rush. Let's spend a minute and just sit here and look at these letters and try to figure out what we can use. So I'm going to start typing into the chat. Joe, stay.
I got one.
Okay, Tyler, go ahead and share.
Joe stayed up nightly eating eating very, very
Mushy, maybe?
Joe stayed up.
Eating malicious Muppet puppets. Oh, funny, Clara. Eating very mushy mushroom pizzas. Ew. That would work though, huh? Joe stayed
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Joe stayed up nightly eating very merry moppy puppets.
But let's think about that. Would people remember married puppets very easily? Probably not. What's an easier word that starts with an M? Eating very,
Mushy.
okay, mushy. We still like mushy.
Mars.
Mushy Mars
I got one.
pizza. Mushy Mars pizza.
Mars pizza. Well, I don't know if we
I
want to
don't
use
know how
the
it
word
tastes.
Mars.
Miss Bruns,
Yeah,
I got one. I'm
Okay.
sending it to you right now.
perfect. Okay. Joe stayed up nightly eating very minimized mice. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I
think,
came up with another one.
yeah, we need a P on the end though. Eating very mushy.
I got one.
Okay, go ahead, share.
Joe stayed up nightly eating very mad and mushy pizzas.
Okay, mad, mushy pizzas. Joe stayed up nightly eating very mad, mushy pizzas. Okay, I kind of like it. I'm not sure the word mad and pizza really go
I
together.
like pizza. I like mad pizza.
Mad pizza? I'm not real sure what mad pizza is like. I know what mushy pizza is like, but
No, actually, really, there's this pizza in place, and I made my own pizza. It's called Mad Pizza.
oh, really? Okay, well then if it makes sense to you guys, we'll use it. All right, so Joe stayed up nightly eating very, I almost forgot very, mushy, mad pizza. All right. Okay, guys, so you see how you can make up your own mnemonic device that makes the most sense to you. But for now, we all had a little bit of fun finishing one for the order of the size of the planets. So when you're done here today, or we're done here today, you're going to have this presentation shared with you in your email. So you're going to have it forever and ever. So you can always go back to, the one that we used most often, or you can, start making up your own. But you'll have these nice charts in front of you, so it'll be easy for you to see. Okay? All right. So are there any questions so far? How are we doing?
Good.
Good? Okay.
Are we doing anything? Is there anything else in the slide?
Yes, we're not quite done. I just wanted to make sure that we were good so far. Oh,
Great.
perfect. All right, guys. So last week we talked a little bit about making connections, and I had a connection when I was making up this presentation. I had a connection to more mnemonic devices. Now, you might not have ever known this, but you see them all the time. So I'm going to show you some really common ones that you've probably heard before. But anytime you see it from now on, you're going to definitely know. Okay, sorry, this is not a real beautiful screen or anything, but that's okay. I'll just kind of highlight where I'm reading. Okay, order of operations in math. So some of you have gotten to this and some of you will be getting to it this year, but sometimes you need to know the order of operations when you're working with an algebraic equation, and you need to know which problem to do first, second, third, and so on. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally tells you the order of operations. You do any problem in parentheses first, then a problem with exponents, then any multiplication or division problems. You just work from left to right. I'll show you what that means. Then you would start with addition and subtraction, and you just work from left to right. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's something that you'll be exposed to and you'll hear about in math class over and over again. Has anybody ever seen that before?
I have.
Yeah, good. So it's old news to some of you, and some of you, it might be kind of new, depending on your grade level. All right. For the solar system, hey, look, guys, we just did this one. Okay, so this is an order from the sun, so closest to the sun out. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. Woo, we just saw that. Here's another math example. This is how we remember the order of a division problem. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? That tells you the steps to figuring out a division problem. All right, here in Colorado, I feel like we've become one of the Great Lakes. Uh, but over there in Michigan and those states up there by the Great Lakes, they have to remember what the names are. So they remember homes, and that stands for Lake Huron, Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Superior. Right. If you're into reading music, lines on a music staff, every good boy does fine. So that shows you the order on music staffs, and I don't know a whole lot about music, but some of you might.
Or every girl brings delicious fudge. I also learned that.
Well, there you go. So what instrument do you play?
Um, I I'm not really learning any instrument right now, but I used to play the piano, and sometimes I just like to jam on it. And I learned it in music class too.
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, Lines of a Music Staff has a mnemonic device as well. All right, I'm going to skip down. So these are all really common mnemonic devices that you've seen a million times, but you just might not have known what they were. Let's go to more common ones. Oh, okay. The order of the colors in a spectrum, so in a rainbow, basically, when you see a rainbow. It's Roy G. Biv. The order of the colors in a rainbow are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And there you go. This will make more sense to you when you guys start taking higher level science classes like biology. But we have different kingdoms that people are, or not people, organisms are categorized in. Okay, so I'm going to kind of skip over that one because that'll be a couple years away for you guys. Here's another one, the same one I was just talking about, the levels of classification. So you can see there's a ton of mnemonic devices. It's really kind of it's kind of cool. So I just made a connection. Does anybody else have any other examples, any other connections?
No, I don't got one.
No.
Any other mnemonic devices that you've ever seen before or heard about before?
Well, I can't remember one, but when I used to go to school, a teacher made one because I used to play viola and flute.
Oh, well, there
So
you go. So they made one for those lines of music again for you. Very good.
I used to know one, but I forgot it now. It was for the
yeah.
13 colonies, the 13 original colonies.
Oh, yes. Yes, I know. I was looking up when I was doing this last night, this research. I actually saw that one. Yeah, the 13 colonies one. That's kind of interesting. I want to look that up right quick. That's a good connection.
Well, was this one that I saw was for the United States? You know.
Oh, yeah, there is a mnemonic device to remember all 50 states. I know that. 13.
That must be
And there was
one.
also one to remember the 13 original colonies for the United States.
Exactly. So, guys, Google is fantastic. You can pretty much find anything you're looking for. And here we go. Here's a mnemonic device on how to memorize the 13 original colonies. So,
Of the United States?
of the United States. All right. So, it looks like it would take us a little while to read it, but just know that those are all out there and those are really good connections. All right. Any other connections to today's lesson so far before I move on? Okay. That's cool. We'll go on to just, I want to skip ahead to complex vocabulary. When I was looking at the word mnemonic, I was thinking to myself, that's kind of complicated. I don't know. So let's talk about a strategy for when you come across hard words like mnemonic or just really any other hard words. So I'm going to pull something onto the screen.
Mnemonic looks like it's spelled wrong because it's such a different word.
I have one question.
Sure, go ahead.
So how will we help the spaceship people today?
Today we have helped the spaceship people because we've learned the order of the planets and the size of the planets, and that's going to be really important when we start doing our calculations. So basically we need to know the location of all the planets, the size of all the planets, and something about all of the planets in order to save our people on the day of the E mission. So the day of the E mission, just looking ahead in the future, is November 21st. And those kiddos who can't come in person, don't worry, we're going to have GoToMeeting set up. So you'll be able to be in the meeting with the NASA scientist and the rest of us who can go to the gym. So,
Miss Brown,
yes.
I know a way that you can make things easier to spell things.
Okay.
Well, like for instance, incomplete. You separate in from complete. You sound them both out and then you sound them out together.
Yeah, so you're talking about incomprehensible, this word right here?
No, I mean incomplete.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. I think what you're doing is breaking the word up into smaller parts, and that's definitely a good strategy as well. But let's go ahead and just look at what I have here in front of us. Oh, look what I did. I totally
What's going
moved that
on?
word. I'm gonna undo my drag and drop. Whoops. That looks better. All right, so let's
This
go
is
to the
Bruns.
meaning of the red words. Yes, go ahead, Tyler.
If you hear a bit of background noise, I'm sorry. It's just they're building around where we're living, so
Oh,
if there's a little bit of background noise, I'll see if I can cut it out there. It's not that loud though, but
no, no, it's definitely not. And you can always turn your microphone off. Um,
yeah.
and or I could turn you off too if I wanted to, but it's not a problem right now. You're doing fine. All right, so we have to figure out these hard words in front of us. This thing keeps skipping all around. All right. So when you're reading, you often come across words you're unsure of or you don't know. So you could always look up the word in the dictionary, but there's other ways to figure out the meaning of hard words, and that's using context clues. So, do I have a volunteer who wants to read this paragraph for us?
I would want to.
Let's have Claire do it because she just answered into the chat and I haven't heard from her today. So go ahead, Claire.
The whole paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay. Lucas started watching the program on the secrets of the universe, but he found it
Incomprehensible.
instead he turned his attention to a magazine, and he was soon engrossed in an article on the dirty habits of young boys, which Lucas found
Fascinating.
fascinating because it seems a very good description of himself.
All right. So there's two really well, they might not be really hard, but they're harder words in red. And so there's a couple things you can do. You might go and run and grab a dictionary and do that, but a better way to do it is to use context clues to figure out those words. So let's go on. If Lucas found the program on the secrets of the universe incomprehensible and he stopped watching it, it could mean a couple different things. Maybe he found it boring, maybe he found it scary, or he didn't understand it. So we need to figure out which one of those choices would be correct.
I think I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I think it was he found it boring.
Well, you might change your mind when we go on to this next little section right down here. If you look at this word and you break it up into its smaller parts, in is a prefix. And then you look at this and you see the word comprehend is in there, or pretty much the entire word. So comprehend means to understand something. So right away, you can figure out that the prefix in means not. So it means he's not understanding something. So basically, by breaking that word into its smaller chunks and taking a word that you do understand, like the word comprehend, you can figure out what the bigger hard word means. Okay? So incomprehensible means to not understand. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
How I broke that up?
Yeah.
So that's one strategy. I broke the word up into its smaller parts. Here's another strategy. Okay, so here's our next hard word. If Lucas became engrossed in a magazine article, it can mean one of these three things. Maybe it meant he became disgusted by what he was reading, or he became interested, or he became surprised.
I know. I think I might know.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that he's disgusted.
You might change your mind when you read the
I
content.
think I know.
Okay, go ahead.
I know.
Whoever said that.
It's Tyler. It's Tyler B though, but I think it's surprised.
I don't know. AJ, what do you think?
I think it's probably A.
So you think he became disgusted?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he was interested in what he was reading because then after that it says he was also fascinated, so that's why I think he was interested.
And I think you are exactly right, Tristan, because by using the context clues and reading the sentences around it, you find out in the very next sentence. The text tells us that Lucas found the article fascinating. That's the very next sentence. So if he's finding it fascinating, the only one that would make sense is engrossed must mean interested. Okay? So therefore, I figured it out by reading the rest of the paragraph and just looking at the sentences around this hard word. Okay? So give me a thumbs up or a happy face if that makes sense.
Um,
All right, so those were two different strategies. One was breaking the word apart into its smaller pieces, and the next strategy was using context clues. Okay? To fully understand the meaning of a text, you need to know what all the words mean. Sometimes it is possible to work out the meaning of the words from the context clues. And if you're not absolutely sure, then you can go and get a dictionary. But usually that's the last thing that you would do. All right, so that was kind of fun. Yay. All right. Yeah. Here we go. So let me talk a little bit about our next Monday meeting. First of all, I'll see you guys all on Thursday. Make sure that you come at your normal Thursday time. I'm going to show that schedule again. It's going to take forever to load, but here we are. Okay, so make sure on Thursday of this week you come at, let me scroll down, whatever time you see your name by. And I've shared this with you 100 times, so you have it. And by Wednesday, if there's something that you're working on in math that you're having a problem with, or you would like me to just demonstrate, go ahead and send that question to me. Just send me a quick email, and I'll make sure that I show it on that Thursday. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about next Monday. So next Monday, we are not going to have virtual classrooms. We're actually going to meet in person. And I know that that's not possible for everybody. So it's totally fine. You're going to be able to do the very same assignment on your own. Not a big deal at all. But sometimes it's really good to actually, you know, hang out together when we can. And what we're going to be doing is going to the Highlands Ranch Library from 9 to 11 a.m. And I'm going to be teaching you some very important research skills. And we're going to be learning more about the planets. Okay, so we're going to learn a lot of specific stuff about the planets. Today, we learned the size and the order from the sun. Next week, we're going to learn, oh, hi, Tim, and whatever you're showing on the webcam. Okay, so next week, we're going to learn more facts about it. So let me just show you. So if this thing would stop leaving. All right, so you're going to attend in person or you'll do the activity on your own. So like I said, this activity is shared, well, this entire presentation is shared with you in your email, so you'll be able to access this very easily. If you want to look ahead at what we're going to do when we're together, you're more than welcome to. These websites down here are good websites that are going to help you with your activity. Or if you just really don't want to worry about it till then, sorry, I had to change the time. That's what we'll do together next Monday at the library. Okay? Are there any questions?
Well, it's not really a question, but just a reminder, I'm not going to be here Thursday.
Okay, and that's all right. If you're not going to be here for a virtual classroom, I'm going to show you how to get to your recordings. This is the homeroom page. So up here in this top right hand of your homeroom page, it says all VC recordings will be posted on this site. And you just click on that and it'll take you directly to where you can watch the VC recording. And then you fill out the form when you're done, just to say that you watched the recording. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's it. You have to give me a couple hours after the virtual classroom because it takes forever because these are really big files. But usually by the night of, so like by Thursday night, I'll have it posted. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So my 9:30 group, you are free to go. If you do think of any questions afterward, you can just send me an email. If not, I'll see my 9:30 group. I'll see you Thursday.
Bye.
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 Miss Bruce, I have
Bye.
a quick question.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
And then they'll just have to watch the recording later. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started for today. Let's just review our expectations really quickly. Make sure to be respectful, to be responsible, and to be ready. Probably the biggest thing is if you're using the chat, to keep it on topic, because it can be really distracting to me and to anybody else if it's not on topic. All right. And this sometimes is a problem, but not usually. No loud distractions. So if you're not in a room by yourself or whatever, make sure that you don't have a dog barking or whatever. Okay, and here we go. So today we're going to be jumping into our second Moon, Mars, and Beyond lesson, and we're going to talk about the reading strategies of making connections again, and then also complex vocabulary. So we're going to do both today. And then I'll talk a little bit about Thursday, and then I'll talk more about next Monday. So I'll do all of that at the end. Let's go ahead and start our presentation of Moon, Mars, and Beyond, our second lesson. Whoop, start up here at the top. So just a little FYI, when I make this presentation take up my entire screen, I can't see the chat anymore and I can't see your pictures anymore because it takes up my entire screen. So you'll just have to, don't feel like you're interrupting. You'll just be able to just talk because I can't see if you're raising your hand. All right. All right, Moon, Mars, and Beyond, Lesson 2. So let's just kind of review what we started last week. Who could tell me a little bit about the scenario, Moon, Mars, and Beyond?
Um, there was like a crash in space or something like that. People got lost in space and we have to save them.
Yep, that's right. They actually haven't crashed, but their spaceship is lost. Does anybody remember what year?
2080.
That's right. It's the year 2080, and we are all senior citizens. But we're all hanging in there, I guess. And really, what's happened is all of us here on planet Earth are looking for resources on other planets because in the year 2080, some of our resources on planet Earth are starting to be depleted. So we have outposts, or what they're called, set up on other planets. And this one ship with NASA scientists in it is lost. And so our job is going to be learning how to navigate through space and then learning some reading strategies along the way. And then on November 21st is when we're going to do the e-mission actually with the scientists, and hopefully we can find the lost ship. All right, so that was just a little review if you had forgotten. Our enduring understanding. So really what I want you to walk away with, at the end of everything, is that everyone has the ability to make a difference to themselves, their community, and their place. So we're going to be definitely making a difference in the lives of these astronauts, but we could even take it a step further, and we might be making a difference in the lives of the people here on planet Earth if we can figure out some ways to gain resources that we are depleting, or maybe stop using them up so quickly. All right. So that's just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. It'll make more sense at the very end of everything. So today we are going to learn the names of the planets in order from the sun. that's going to be really important when we're actually doing our mission with the NASA scientists because they don't have time for us to go to a computer and look it up right quick. We have to know these things off the top of our head. So I'm going to be teaching you a really easy way to remember the names names of the planets. Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. All right. I'm going to teach you a way to remember the planets in order of their size, so from biggest to smallest. And I'm going to do that by teaching you about a mnemonic device.
GoToMeeting. Your session.
Sorry.
That's okay. That was me. Sorry. So I'm going to devise a mnemonic device to help memorize the planets' names in both size and order. Mnemonic device is kind of a hard word, and all it means is we're going to learn an easy sentence that's going to help us remember these things. All right. So our new vocabulary for today, mnemonic device. This presentation it's so sensitive. If I even barely move my mouse, it totally freaks out. But here we go. So I'm just not going to touch my mouse. New vocabulary, mnemonic device. It's a strategy to help you remember the names of things that are sometimes kind of hard. When there's more than one or two, things, like there's obviously more than one or two planets, sometimes it's kind of hard to remember. So this makes it easy. And then I think everybody's familiar with the names of the planets. But in case you aren't, the names are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And yes, Pluto is still considered a planet. I confirmed that with the NASA scientists. It is called a dwarf planet, but it's still considered a planet, even though it's definitely different than the others. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pause for just a second. Are there any questions so far? Okay, everyone give me a thumbs up if you're alive and with me. Yay! Okay, good. All right, I like to see your pictures, and when I have my full screen on, I can't see the chat or the pictures, so I have to stop every couple minutes and make sure that everyone's doing well. Okay, so here's our very first mnemonic device. Mnemonic device is going to make this remember. I went too fast. To remember the order from the sun. So closest to the sun and then all the way out. So you can see that Mercury is closest to the sun, then Venus, then Earth, then Mars, then comes Jupiter, then Saturn, then Uranus, then Neptune, and clear, clear, clear far away is Pluto. But if I was just trying to remember that, that might be kind of hard to do. So if I make a sentence. Oh, I'm hearing some background noise. Okay, sorry. So if I just make a sentence using the first letter of each one of those planets, it'll be a lot easier for me. Uh-oh. So I'm hearing some
It's my little sister.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's your little sister. Sorry, I didn't know that. All right. I thought maybe I was going to have to check my microphone there. All right, so my very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. That's a pretty cool little easy sentence, and it helps you skip really far ahead. That's so annoying. It helps you remember the order of the planets from the sun. So, do we have any other examples? Maybe we can think of how we can change this. Is there anything else? I mean, this is the most popular one. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. But does anybody have any ideas on how we can maybe change it?
Maybe.
You could type it into the chat, or you can just say it out loud. So far we have, we're going to have a sentence that starts with the letter M, and then the next word has to start with a V, and then the next word has to start with an E, and so on. So I'm going to just leave this up on the screen for a minute. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. In the last class, we had my very earnest mother just sat upon 19 puppies. Oh,
That's funny.
yeah. So really, I mean, this isn't something that you have to change. I'm just trying to get your brains thinking. Um, this is definitely, and you guys all have this presentation. I've shared it with you in your email, so you'll have it forever and ever. This is the most common one to remember the planets in order from the sun. So my very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. Well, now we are going to make our own according to size. So now I need to these planets according to size. So just looking at this, you can see that Jupiter is the biggest, Saturn is the second biggest, Uranus, whoops, Uranus comes next, Neptune is fourth biggest, then Earth, Venus, Mars, Mercury, and the really tiny one is Pluto. So let's have a little bit of fun here. Let's make up our own. I started it off for us. Joe stayed up nightly. I need you guys to help me finish.
Even, very, mainly, mad.
Okay. What about Joe stayed up nightly eating? What can very okay, so Joe stayed up nightly eating very stayed up mushy maybe? Nightly eating very
mushy.
Pie.
Okay, the next one has to start with an M again. So eating very mushy
Mushroom pie.
mushroom pie. Oh, that makes sense. I like it.
Yeah,
Oops, I misspelled pie.
sounds kind of gross.
I like that one though. Joe.
Marshmallows?
Pie.
Oh, marshmallows. Okay. Joe stayed up nightly eating very mushy marshmallow.
Mush. Or no. No.
The last one has to start with a P, remember?
I say pie.
I like pie.
It's really funny.
Yeah. So I hope I'm typing this into the chat right now. So hopefully you guys are reading it. So this is called a mnemonic device, and it helps you remember things that are sometimes not really easy to remember, like the order of the planets from the sun, and in this case, the order of the planets according to size. So I like that. Joe stayed up nightly eating very mushy marshmallow pie. Perfect. Yay. All right, guys. So just know that you can always go back to this presentation, and you're going to have this for you, this chart with you. So if you wanted to go back later and try to make up a different one, you're welcome to, but you have these available to you at all times. Joe stayed up nightly eating very mushy marshmallow pie. Maybe I can type that into this. I don't know. I'm going to probably mess up the presentation if I try to do it right now. So I'll just leave it for now. Okay. Switching gears just a tiny bit to kind of take you back to last week. We talked about connections and making, connections to things going on in the world, to other texts or movies, or, just to something going on in your own life. Well, when I was doing this mnemonic device lesson, I made a connection to other mnemonic devices. Okay, so other things that I've learned about in the past. So I'm going to show you a couple of those. And you might say, oh, yeah, I didn't even know that was a mnemonic device, but you've seen it before. Here's just a couple examples. The order of operations. Give me a thumbs up or a happy face in the chat if you've ever heard of the order of operations before.
How did that word means?
So when we're talking about a math problem. And it's okay because some of you, I see a couple fourth graders are like, no, I haven't. And that's okay because you will this year. The order of operations, when you have more than one problem in an equation, is to do anything in parentheses first, then exponents, then multiplication and division, then addition and subtraction. And here at the end of class, I can show you a couple examples of this. So the way that we remember that is by using this mnemonic device. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Yes, Tim.
Oh no, I wasn't raising my hand. I was trying to move the light.
Oh, okay. All right, so that was a connection to a mnemonic device that you've seen before. Oh, look at this one. We just went over this one. The solar system in order from the sun. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. We just went over that one. Here's one that I can bet pretty much all of you have seen before, and that is the order of steps in a division problem. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? So you divide first, then you multiply, then you subtract, then you compare, then you bring down. So those are just a couple connections that I was making to other mnemonic devices. At the end here, I want to show you a couple examples of those. So I'm going to go on. What about you guys? Do you have any other connections from today? Any other mnemonic devices that you can remember? I'm getting a couple things into the chat.
Yeah, but we already talked about it.
How about, has anybody heard of Holmes? And that's how you remember the Great Lakes? Oh, it's H-O-M-E-S. I'm typing it into the chat right now. It stands for Lake Huron, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Superior. Yeah, so I'm getting a couple people. You've heard of that before. So lots of other mnemonic devices, and you're never going to forget them now. You'll say, oh, that's what that is. Yes, Emma.
I've heard of Lake Ontario.
Oh, very good. Well, there's other lakes
It's
as
in
well.
a book.
Yeah. So now, Emma, now you're going to remember that there's Lake Huron, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Superior make up the Great Lakes just by remembering Holmes. Okay? All right, guys. So I'm going to take us on. Stupid slide. So we just went over connections, and I was telling you about other connections that I was making to mnemonic devices. But when I first started this, I was like, wow, mnemonic is kind of a hard word. So let's talk a little bit about how to figure out complex words, complex vocabulary. Okay, so I'm going to pull something onto my screen. So give me just a second.
Miss Burns?
Yes.
I can't show my webcam.
Oh, you know why? Because only 6 people can have it on at a time, so it's okay. Don't worry. All right. Oh, and here it is. Complex vocabulary. Let me go to the very top. So I'm going to teach you 2 strategies today on how to figure out words that are difficult. Like for instance, mnemonic is kind of a hard word. So when you're reading, you often, wow, there we go. When you're reading, you often come across words that you're unsure of or you don't know. So you can always go and grab, a dictionary. But there's 2 other strategies that are easier. So I'm going to show you those today. Okay. First things first, I'm going to read this paragraph to you, or I can take a volunteer to read it. And then we're going to talk about these 2 words in red because they're kind of hard. and I'm going to teach you some strategies on how to figure them out. Emma, do you want to read them
Yeah.
or read it? Okay, go ahead.
Let's work out the meaning of the red words. Lucas started watching the program on the secrets of the universe, but found it incomprehensible. Instead, he turned his attention to a magazine and was soon engrossed in an article on dirty habits of young boys, which Lucas found fascinating because it seemed a very good description of himself.
Perfect. Okay, so if I didn't know what incomprehensible or engrossed meant, I could run and get a dictionary. Or let's look at our first word. I'm going to teach you how to break the word apart into its smaller parts. And if you can break it into its smaller parts, a lot of times you can figure out what the bigger word means. So if Lucas found the program incomprehensible and stopped watching, it could mean one of three things. Maybe he found it boring. Maybe he found it scary. Or maybe he couldn't understand it. So how do we know which answer is correct? Well, I'm going to break this word up into smaller bits. Here's a prefix, in. That word means, or that prefix, I should say, means not. Okay? And then I'm going to look at this next chunk of the word, and I see almost the entire word comprehend. So I know that if I comprehend something, it means that I understand it. So if something is not understandable or incomprehensible, it probably means that he couldn't understand it. Um, so Emma, did you have a comment?
I think it means he couldn't understand.
Yep, that's exactly right. It means that he couldn't understand it. But do you see how I broke this word up into smaller parts in order to figure it out? Okay, so give me a thumbs up if that made sense. Okay. All right, good. So, I looked at the part that I did know and I looked and I was like, wow, that's pretty much the word comprehend. And I know that comprehend means understand. Sorry, everything is so sensitive. And the prefix in means not. So it means not understandable. Okay, another strategy is to use context clues. So if Lucas became engrossed in a magazine article, it can mean one of three things. Maybe he was disgusted by what he was reading, maybe he was interested in what he was reading, or maybe he was surprised in what he was meeting. Anybody have a guess? Lucas?
He was interested inside his reading.
That's right. He was interested in what he was reading. Very good. And the reason he just knew that, but if you didn't know, you can continue reading, and the context clue in the very next sentence said that he found the article fascinating. Okay, so if he finds it fascinating, that probably means that he is interested in it. So therefore, we can just make a really educated guess that engrossed must mean interested because that very next context clue said that he found it fascinating. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up or a happy face in the chat. Yay! All right. So those are two strategies on how to figure out the meaning of really hard words. Our first one, just to review, is break it up into smaller parts. Our second one is to read the context clues around it. So read the sentence before and after, and sometimes that'll help you figure it out. And to fully understand the meaning of a text, you need to know what all the words mean. So just kind of keep that in mind. Last but not least, if you really can't figure it out, you can always go and get that dictionary. So, all right. So I'm going to go back to our presentation. Just a second to close all these other windows. Ah,
It's okay.
all right. Just a reminder that our next virtual classroom, I'm going to see you again on Thursday. Make sure that you know your Thursday time. Okay, so I've shared all of this with you. It's all in your email. You definitely have this in a million different places. What time you need to show up on Thursday, but
10:30.
I'll flash it to you again. Okay, so there's Monday. That's right now. Here's Thursday, so try to find your name. So hopefully you saw your name. All right. Remember that if you have some kind of question, like a math question, or even if it is a language arts question, that's totally fine too. Send it to me. Just shoot me a little email or something by Wednesday, and I'll make sure that I show it during that virtual classroom. Okay, so I'll make sure that you get that question answered. You could always take a screenshot of it if it's too hard to retype, or cut and paste it so you can copy. Do you guys all know how to cut and paste? I hope. Like you just highlight something and then you would go up to copy and then you would just paste it into the email. Okay, so a couple different ways that you can get those problems to me. Now let me talk a little bit about September 23rd. That is a week from today. That is next Monday. We are going to meet at the Highlands Ranch Library. And I know not everybody can do that. I know that, some of you are really far away or whatever the case is. It's totally fine. You're going to still be able to do the assignment. Let me show you. So for next time, you're going to either show up at the Highlands Ranch Library next week at 9 o'clock from 9 to 11. I guess I can add that. That's not letting me right now. Or you can complete this activity by yourself. And what we're going to be doing is researching. I'm going to teach you some research strategies on all of the different planets, and we're going to learn a lot more than just the names and the order from the sun or order of size. We're going to learn a lot more about all of these planets. So if you can't come, you're going to have to do this activity that I've linked here on your own. And I've given you, there it was, I've given you a bunch of different resources that you can use. Okay, go ahead, Lucas.
Did you send us like a RCV, or what are those little things where you sign in and you tell your name and all that, so you can go to the
I
thing?
did. I did send you an RSVP, and this is what it looks like. Let me just show you. It's all in your email, so as soon as
Oh,
we're done here, you guys you'll totally see it. It's in your email.
I probably checked it, but
Yeah. So you'll be able to easily fill that out, and it has all of the times and everything that you're going to need. So very cool. Are there any questions from today?
No.
Okay. Let's see. I need, if possible, Deanjane to stay on with me. Hudson, I'd like you to stay on with me as well. And everybody else, you are able to go and have a fantastic Monday.
Bye, Sienna.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.